Hello there. This is episode 60, coding, culture coding or coding with agents. I'm here and this session is part of Weplex startup. Weplex is an assistant platform for making sites and biographical sites for professionals, authors, for example. But in Brazil, we do um, exercise and grow what we call the vertical with psychologists, sites for psychologists. Okay. Nevertheless, I'm working here today. This session is about um, updating the article builder session. Okay. Um, the article builder session. So I'm using here the cockpit version 5, which is this visual system for recording the screen. So as you can see, I can move my camera bubble around and also starting to experiment with the idea of visual effects there, but that's a different project. Section 60 here, it's mainly about coding with agents, commenting, reflecting about what is going on now, right? Because coding with humans or agents doesn't really matter because tools are also part of the culture. Tools carry on narratives. We know humans carry on narratives. Humans can be tools sometimes. Forgive me for saying that. I didn't mean at all to categorize humans like a hammer. But humans carry on narratives. Actually, by establishing this notion, we may actually improve ourselves by recognizing that we shouldn't behave as tools. That's one thing there to say the phrase that I just mentioned. Okay, so nevertheless, the system that I have today here, okay, what you see in the screen is this system for creating articles as part of Weplex Communications. All right, and I want, okay, uh, and that's the visual effect, really nice, right? It's going to improve that effect because I can't yet zoom in to the point that I want, but that's not the point of the session. So I'm here in this session. I am creating. I want this is an editor for new articles and has to do with you can drag images to the editor and you can generate beautiful articles out of the incoming resources that you drop to the article session and then you repurpose regenerate these things. All right, so now there's some updates that I need to do. You see, like the bot services on the right, it's like with this capitalized lettering, different than commit envelope. And that's the first thing that I want to import in the tool. Now, let us do some updates there to, to the meta editor view. The title for all these panels should get the same CSS class. For example, bot services should just be a plain H2 title like bot services. Okay, and commit envelope to H2. Okay, actually, not not capital to the song. Okay, now then the top level CSS shall apply things to these elements in a simple way, which CSS is intended to. Now, the other thing is now put also a an H2 title to the header to the article header session between quotes because it gets that what we're talking. Um, all good. Yes, all good. All right. Let us see that. But make sure you see that all these panels, because they all start with a 2, I want to see all them the same in terms of style. You know, they are all inheriting the same CSS basics for the panels, right? So what we're doing here today is basically, organization. Sometimes, uh, there's this question, right, with the agents and developing. Oh, so if I ask something general, will the tool create for me something crazy like this, right? Different decisions to the different panels. And then how you reconcile, how you make sure that the architecture of the code is good because you're just asking user and user client sort of like demands, right? The tool is going to architect probably in a messy way. But wait, communication at the top, tops down communication may also carry on signs and hints and jargon that impacts server side, for example, architecture, right? So there are hints there in my saying. I don't know what the tool is going to produce, but I can clearly see that the title on the right and the middle title and the missing title on the left are not following the same organized structure, right? And when I tell the tool to do that, I am thinking that this developer agent, call it whatever you want, will should get it. And this kind of saying a narrative should trigger the agent to use a model that is existing model from our history, basically inheriting knowledge from other humans, developers. That's what I expect. So it made a change to the HTML mostly. So maybe we had before something in place. Let us see. Now it's really worse, right? So this is good because it's a matter of reorganizing communication again. In some cases, there is a missing element that it's not that things are worse here, right? It's just that maybe it's a missing file. Just closing some folders there to simplify here. Okay. From the top down, a review. A meta editor screen supports column panels, which may have issue titles. You can also document that to the review. Now I'm asking for documentation. So we start from there, and that right sidebar, the title of it is not BOT in capitalized, right? It's H2 now with the bot services. Let us start there for now. So now I'm trying to simplify a bit, starting from the tops down here, right? Asking also for the README, I am suggesting that there are certain things, there are principles here. Oh wait, it's the README on. Hmm. It's still kept the index in the mod article new episode. Okay, okay. A refactor. Okay. The meta editor indexation now that should live in the bot services with a package JSON there. Okay. So the index of both services lives there with the public and the editor and the important the article new episode under HTML CSS should be accessible from there. So the mod article new episode has the backend mod.js and the session views. Okay. Now, as you do that, make sure that the CSS aspects I mentioned are good to go. Panels, flex, sidebar on the right, button to the H2, which says bot services. With that first button, which then, when tapped, click it, opens the editor HTML. Yeah, it's probably gonna have a little bit of trouble to load an HTML inside HTML. Editor, panel, editor. Okay. Now, if you think it's going to be complex to load an HTML inside an HTML, we can make editor JS carry on a this is a big refactoring if we do it this way. Because normally here what people do is something like React in MVC. But let me look at our screen because these are not complex elements, I guess. A class for build markup, which loads the chunks operational for the panels. Like a class, like what something like MVC or React would do it. Makes sense? Too complex or not? What article new episode? So we had the HTML before and we had the index, right? I see. Hmm. Now, what if we keep that HTML, right? What we do is a kind of a inner browsing mechanism. I see why the system struggled to bring to the above layer. Yeah, meta shell, receiving a name. Hmm. When this HTML is loaded, it should apply to a space of code, a context. Indeed. Fracture, okay. Meta index should live in both services there with the packages on there. So the index of both services lives there with the public. And the article in the episode that there is now and JS should be accessible from there. Through that button. So the modern article episode has is a placeholder for a backend module JS and session JS. Okay. Now let's do that. Make sure that the CSS as mentioned are good to go flat side variables to with that first button, which then went after without without leaves for the whole method ever I just mentioned. So the actual errors like the article. Now there's something interesting about this, right? With its own HTML. Something like the iframe. Now, when it is time to load that service into the canvas map area, do you think we can hot inject the hot inject? So we keep the HTML and the JS for the editor of the mod article new episode, right? But of course, you will clear out a lot of the CSS there as you move it to the parent meta editor. Now, then, what if the meta editor hot injector does a parsing and does a load and apply to the contents of the editor slash index HTML and also applies the hot.js image.js as in activating. Okay, would that architecture work? Are there architectural and if architectural aspects needs to be annotated so that magic works, keep that in the editor HTML and JS as basic. Okay, and basically trying to make a system that I can load those HTMLs and JS without loading from an iframe to create a context. Now, this may be a big change. Time for coffee. Planning major architectural effects. See that? Planning a major architecture refactor. Yeah, it is major. Because I'm trying to separate the best I can the server side functions and to come up with a UI system that I can navigate these function elements, right? And also recover this mess. This mess. Wow. So removing things. It doesn't fear. Yeah, that's something for us to reflect there. It has no fears. The tool, the agent, the AI. Let's see if something's coming up there. No, not yet. I hope it doesn't touch the renderer module. interesting because it keeps telling me that it's editing a place and certain files, but where are these files? It's not there. Sometimes that happens. I think it used probably like a sandbox space. Just wonder. Because if I can organize this architecture, then I'll probably be able to do the second service. And by the way, right, these are UI elements to visualize information that is in the end of the day of a semantic nature, I guess. Right? Like, I mean, it's behavioral things going on. That's why most of these things are about context, I guess. Here we're touching the problem of MVC and the problem that we have for ages in software. And I think we're basically about to solve that because that's probably about culture and context and communication and narratives, not about, of course, UI. Was never about UI, right? But some crystallized material tools are important again. We know that too. I think this session is one of the most complex sessions I came across because I'm implying that there is a kind of a smart system for managing the panels as if it's something like very simple to do it, right? I mean, I gave hints there, but it could actually enter the space of confusion or unclear things. I hope at least it creates the server at the parent level because I don't see it. Right? It's still doing things at that level, but the package JSON is not there anymore, so maybe it's here. Refresh, no refresh here. README, see, it's editing the README of the mod article. Well, that's okay as well. Mod article should have a README, but see, the README in the mod article is talking about the bot serves public. So this README will likely be moved. Module split into layers. But the explanation here is not too bad. Too bad. See, huh? Oh, now it's there. Right? I think it was the visual code didn't pick. Now I see. Meta editor, readme is there. Yeah, I see. Oh, some good organization here. So indeed the refactoring going on. Interesting. Elevated is the word, huh? Bot serves into the meta editor host that the package JSON something. You see, when I move over the mouse over the files, I really enjoy that, it only touched uh, files in this area. Okay, that's very important. It's very important because when it does something like that, it kind of gives me um, yeah npm install, right, and the elevated directory. When does something like that, it gives me a little bit of less fear for running the thing because I know it's working in this specific directory, right? Like a sandbox. So here, for instance, right, I just reinstall the thing and I can probably reload here. Or maybe the port is different now. Yes, the port is different. See, it's kind of a right went back to the prior situation. Now, it's now in terms of CSS, there is a little slightly a mess there, but it's important to read as well. Elevated, new package, etc. Global, meta, shared CSS now leaves something. We factored mod into a backend module's former server. Now its former server is now create something episode module. Index.js plugs into the meta host, serves the session folder, exposes API endpoints under namespace base path, mod specific docs explain how hot injection contract and requirements to read window module based paths. Mhm. Editor. Mhm. See, the HTML is just divs now, and the index HTML probably attaches something to the window. There is init bind events and something. This kind of follows, I guess, some of the approaches used in dynamic, what I call inner browsing systems. Library is the server. The index there is this is interesting. The index imports lots of things and express, but it's not about creating a new server. That's probably okay for now. Okay, now good. Now the panels, in terms of the vision, are messed up in terms of the new article flow. Okay, um, article session set article. So maybe before I express it myself, let when the editor new article editor is engaged, let us go ahead and stack stack up a new article editor pane on the left, which is of course flex, which of course flex, and then you also stack a commit envelope. Mm. Another investigation. Let us go ahead and stack up a new article. Pane. And that one with flex expands should have then two columns, one for the editor and editor session, another for the commit envelope. Okay, let us see. Yeah, I'm kind of guessing here. I don't have full clarity because I think the button on the right correctly should open something. But what I have in terms of article editing, I do want, in the end of the day, to get to a point that I propose a commit envelope for later transformations. But I'm thinking that commit envelope, that it's something in the middle for later transformations, means later transformations is a different panel. It's something on the side that consumes the output of the editor. So far, I think they're two together, but they might eventually be separated. But at least we can see something now beautiful. That's very important. So this is the same of writing a book and writing a chapter, right? What you have in the end of the day is you achieve clarity as you do, and Grove said that in the book High Output Management, which is the point of writing the report is achieving clarity. Then you can trash the report. Meanwhile, I can tap this visual effect thing here so we can play. Oh, I was thinking maybe in the middle of those sessions when things are happening, we should play games using 3D. I don't know. Oh, we have results there, right? So, okay, results. We work at something. So, again, right? I mouse over the files and I realize it only touched two files, right? So this for me is not, it's enough for calling and, you can go ahead and check, you see, we, we're back in the game, right? Uh, Now commit envelope is an underneath thing, right? So I can refresh panes. We didn't lose the functions. That's a good thing because of architectures, right? Now, then if we want, let's say I am here interested in writing the what I call episode 60, right? Episode 60 is episode 60 coding, culture coding, culture coding with agents building an article editor. So it's code with agents new In this episode, we reflect about code with agents. La- Um, the case is Marsh as Wiplex article builder. Right. Now, I have a new YouTube here, okay? I save the inputs, I reload this thing, get that, refresh page. Yeah, episode 6 is there. That's good for me. Okay, one thing, right? The, I see. The, the cast, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Now, if I'll probably need another photo, right? The photo that I want is this, something like this. That's the photo that well, I didn't see anything, but I took a photo. Yes. And when I drag here, I wanted to take that out. So far, I don't want to make a decision there. Okay. But I want this out and refresh panes. Yes. Small image on the right. Good. Commit envelope. Okay. Yes. Run. Oh, I fear. Back here. Yes. I do have another article. Now, as you can see, wait, my camera is in front, right? As you can see, I those two articles are missing the banners. That's okay so far. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna end the session. Thank you very much.